Okay, so I got a 7-yard open target set up. I'm gonna work on my draw, specifically the scoop draw. So the traditional draw is, it's called a snatch, which it's, so I'm basically coming up, coming down, and snatching the gun out, right? Where the scoop is, I'm just scooping the gun right out of the holster. So most people don't use the scoop draw because they have a very inconsistent grip out of the holster. And if your grip is bad, then it doesn't matter how fast your draw is. But for most people, the scoop will probably shave about 0.2 of a second on your draw easily. I think the scoop being inconsistent is a misconception. I think it's because they don't put enough effort and time into training the scoop. Like the position of your holster, the cant, basically how the gun is sitting on your belt plays a big role in how well you can scoop and how well you can get a consistent draw. So about a week and a half ago, I started working on getting my CZ and my holster tuned on my belt for the scoop. So it took me like about a day of trial and error of moving my holster around until I was getting a consistent grip. Okay, so all of my draws were high 8s, low 9s with the exception of that last one. I had a little bit of a shitty grip on my support hand and I saw the dot really high, so I had to bring it down. That was 105. So even in a situation where I have to clean up my sight picture, I'm at 105, which is pretty decent. So I'm gonna go down range and show you the hits. They're all A zones except for one. That was a very low shot. And again, my support hand. So I've been working on this for about a week and a half in dry fire. My strong hand grip was consistent almost 100% of the time once I practiced a bit. What I'm having issues with is my support hand. My support hand is not always consistent. So that I'm gonna have to continue to rep out in dry fire. And I think it's just that the draw stroke is slightly different than the way that I was drawing before, which was the snatch. So I'm just having to adjust that a little bit. And to be honest with you, I've been more focused on this and not so focused on this in dry fire. So that's what I'll be continuing to work on. But aside from that low one, and it was still close A, and that was because of the support, and that one that I had to clean up, they were all pretty good. We'll take a look. And even though they're sub 1 second, I'm not really pushing. And all I'm looking for is a flash of red around here. So you can see here, most of them are right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 2 over here. And then there's a high one and a low one. And again, those were the ones where my support hand grip was off. So this is looking pretty good. I'm gonna shift over and run a few on that plate rack that I have at 15 yards and see how well I can draw onto a 15-yard 8-inch plate, which is a difficult shot. Okay, so just moved over here on this side. I'm gonna do the same thing that I was doing over there. I'm just gonna scoop, shoot, fire one shot onto the plate rack, rinse and repeat. I just wanna see how well I can draw onto an 8-inch steel plate at 15 yards. Low. so not bad. Started off very well, and then I started to get into my head, and I started to have some tension issues, which resulted in trigger press issues, bad support hand grip. Best time was 105. The other ones where I hit were about 109, 110. So it seems like at this distance for that target, 109, 110 around there, just over 1 second, is pretty consistent, and it's pretty easy for me to deliver. Okay, so I switched it up a bit. I'm now drawing to 2 shots. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's very easy to have a fast draw to 1 shot, because once you fire that shot, it doesn't matter what your grip's like, right? As long as the gun is pointed at the target, when you index, you don't have to, there's no recoil control needed, nothing. So what I'm finding is, I mentioned earlier, it's my support hand grip. So my support hand grip, what I'm finding is it's just a little bit too soft. And as I'm shooting, I have to clamp down on it. So my first shots are good, my second shots are a little off. So let's go take a look at the target, and my fucking target's about to blow off the stand. So no, let's go look. So those were all sub 1 second draws, the draws themselves. So let's take a look at the target, and you'll see it's blowing off. So this is what I'm talking about. Most of these are my first shot right here, and then my second shot is kind of all over the place. Here, 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 here. Still Charlies, but I want all alphas at this distance, especially out of the draw. If I can't do that, then there's no point in having a fast draw, right? So I need to work on this a little bit more. We'll see if we can tighten it up and go from there. Let's see if we can tighten up that second shot. I'm going to really focus on my support hand grip and really clamping down right as I feel my hand marry with my other hand and the grip, the butt of the gun back here. Okay, so a little bit of an interesting pattern is starting to develop on the target. The shots aren't going down, they're going up. So let's go take a look here. And it's my second shot. And if I try and run the trigger like sub 0.2 splits, this is what happens. My second shot is up here. So the gun is not returning in time to get the shot here. So it was, I think it was all these 4 here, right? So when my shot, like my first shot is here, then bam. But aside from that, I had 2 Charlies and then these. And these were just like I indexed on the run spot. But it's definitely a bit tighter. I'm not seeing anything down here. So really focusing on my support hand grip is definitely helping. Now, one of the things that I noticed a few times is when I was thinking, clamp down on my support hand, instead what I was doing is I was kind of turtling, like shrugging my shoulders. So that's something that I have to watch out for, but it's just interesting when I thought, okay, control the recoil, press down, like squeeze harder, like that, those kind of thoughts, I started to tense up. So what I did is I made sure that my shoulders were relaxed, and I really tried to think about my hand, not just generally tense up. I don't know if that makes sense. It's hard to explain. It's hard to articulate what's going on in my head, but it's just a general sense that I'm not really thinking about my hands specifically and tensing up my hands specifically. I'm just thinking overall, hey, just control the recoil, right? So, and then I'm tensing up. And what's funny is I feel the tension in my shoulder, but my hand is not gripping the gun any tighter. So it's not helping at all. All right, so I'm going to tape up and work on that another mag full, and then I think I'm going to change and just work on cleaning the plate rack for a little bit.